How many points, Chelsea fans, do we feel like we should be getting this season in the Premier League? Should we be looking at 60 plus, 70 plus, maybe even 80? How do we think we should do in the Cups? Is Cole Palmer going to be back? So, what do we think would be a successful season for Chelsea? Welcome back, everyone, to the AGCFC podcast. We are going to get into those discussions today, where we think we should finish in the Prem, how I think we should do in the Cups. Unfortunately, we can't speak about no Champions League because we're not in it because we're a bunch of losers. But first, I want to talk a little bit about some transfer rumors. Arsenal have let Pedro Neto's agent know that they are interested in signing him. I don't know what it is with Arteta and how he just is in love with all these Chelsea players. Look, Madueke didn't work, so you go, you know what? Let's go to Chelsea again, and let's just sign Pedro Neto. Arteta, I don't understand your obsession, but if you want to take him like you took Madueke for, what, 60 million, if you want to go ahead and take Neto for, like, how much could we sell him for? I mean, with how much some of these other players are going for, I think we'd only really sell him in the region of, like, 70, 80 million. If you want him for that much, Arsenal, please take him. Hopefully he wouldn't go there and be special. But if they want to take two Chelsea, I don't want to say Neto's a Chelsea reject, but not a super big, high-level Chelsea player, go ahead and take him if you really want him. But I also want to mention how Enzo Fernandez is going to be returning to training. Hopefully at some point this week. I would assume that's what I'm saying, is that he will be returning to training. I've also seen Morgan Rogers will be coming in, I think, Wednesday, I believe, which I would like it if you come in a little sooner than that, because I want to get you training so you could play against Real Sociedad, so then you can be ready against Fulham, because I feel like half our team's not going to be ready against Fulham. So it has a stinky 1-1 draw all over, even a 0-0. I feel like we're going to tie that game against Fulham. Hopefully players like Rogers and Enzo, if they are going to be in the team like Enzo, will be ready for now. We are going to play in the second round of the EFL Cup because we are so bad we don't even make it to the third round automatically. But that's all right. Luton Town will be our first home game of the year. To be Xavi Alonso's first home official game at Stamford Bridge. As we know, Real Sociedad will also be at Stamford Bridge. So hopefully players like Rogers, Enzo, who else? Reece James, Lacroix, all these new signings, whatever, old players will be in and will be fit to play against Luton, and that'll be their like preseason in a sense. And then we turn around and play Brighton, I believe that's at home. I'm not too sure. And then we go and play Arsenal, and all those players, they have to all be ready for that game. That is for sure. But now I want to touch on a little bit about preseason. I want to talk about Nico Jackson. Look, our Chelsea strikers this year should be Joao Pedro, Danny Welbeck, and Nicolas Jackson. Okay, Nicolas Jackson has shown brilliance in the preseason, so I want him to be in the squad this year. But I kind of feel bad for Amiga because, look, mate, I don't need Amiga in the squad. I don't think he needs to be here. Honestly, ship him out on loan. I don't know what to do with him because it's like you got to give him game time because the Donny just arrived here. But I'd rather give the game time to Nicolas Jackson and even Welbeck because we literally just signed him. We might as well play him a little bit, and he's a good player. But Delap at this point, he needs to go. We'll mention him here in a second, but Delap needs to go. There's no room for him in the squad. The thing is, recently in the past two games, we've seen a 3 at the back with 2 cams and the striker. Nicolas Jackson can back up the strikers and the cams as well, or even if we do play a 4-2-3-1, he can also back up the wingers, because Senegal fans and Villarreal fans, I feel like, know him as a winger, and he came in and played striker, and that's not even his natural position. So we saw that he played cam, and Delap played up top in the last preseason game, and it worked well. He was playing brilliant balls into Delap. He looked like a creator, which is what I want him to be. And that's what he's good at, because we know, Lord knows, the man cannot finish to save his life. So if anything, drop him back in one of those cams winger positions, and I feel like he's a lot more confident. You can tell he's trying to prove himself right now. So I'm happy for him. He needs to stay in the team alongside Joao and Welbeck should be the strikers. Joao Pedro can also play in a cam position. We saw it. He scored 2 goals in that spot. But lastly, before we talk like Premier League and the Cups, Austin McPhee, he could literally end up being the signing of the season. Soon we will make a video on like who I think is going to be the top goal scorer, assist, signing of the season, all that stuff. Who I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be Austin McPhee. Literally, yeah, of course he's not a player, but he like the 2 set piece goals against AC Milan. He was Portugal's set piece coach, and he did brilliantly. He was tied along with Arsenal's set piece coach for most in Europe. Look, call us set piece FC, but we're going to be set piece FC who can actually score a goal, unlike Arsenal. Call us the Premier League champions right now. You might as well. Anyway, Newcastle, Nottingham Forest, Everton have all registered interest in Liam Delap. Good, get this man out. I think they'll buy him for like $40 million. He shouldn't be here anymore, so let's get that moving. But now, should we talk about the Prem or the Cups first? Let's talk about the Prem. So, last 5 seasons in the Premier League, 21-22 season. 3rd place, 74 points. Okay, 74 points. Thomas Tuchel was the manager. We won the Super Cup, and we won the old FIFA Club World Cup. And we made the FA Cup final and the Carabao Cup final, lost those on penalties, which is an insane season because if we won those on penalties, we would have won 4 trophies that season. And we made the Champions League quarterfinals. 22-23 was when the new owners came in. We finished 12th, and we dropped off by 30 points. 30 points. New owners. Thomas Tuchel played 6 Prem games. Then Graham Potter came in, played. Oh my God, excuse me. Jesus, played most of the season. Then we had, I think, Bruno Saltor come in as a caretaker. Was there for like 1 game. Then Frank Lampard came in and had 1 win in 11. Not really his fault. Don't fault him for that at all. Whatever. Champions League quarterfinals again. 23-24, 6th place, 63 points. So a little better. We know that. Pochettino, we made the EFL Cup final. No, we didn't lose on penalties, but we were close to getting to penalties because we went to extra time with Liverpool when Liverpool were pretty much playing a youth team in that game. If you all remember, that was one of the worst losses, at least I remember recently, since I've really been watching. And we made the FA Cup semifinals. 24-25, 4th place, 69 points. That was Maresca. Conference League winners. Club World Cup, great season. 25-26, this most recent season, 10 points. 10th place, 52 points. He dropped off 17 points. Maresca sacked Jan first / he left. Liam Rossigna, then Callum McFarlane. We all know how that went. FA Cup final. Terrible loss to Man City. So unfortunate. Champions League round of 16 when we absolutely got destroyed to PSG. We all know that too well. 26-27. Xavi Alonso has came in. All right. He's got experience somewhat. It's still kind of like that young whatever that we wanted. But if you're going to go with that young manager, this is the best type of manager to get. He was the best manager just available in general, I feel like, in my opinion. Undefeated at Leverkusen, went to Madrid, won his first, was unbeaten in his first, 10 of 11, I believe. And I don't know why Madrid ever gotten rid of him. As someone who still watches Madrid and is kind of a fan of Madrid, as a second team, I guess, I love Madrid. I want them to do well. Them sacking Xavi Alonso was the stupidest thing ever. And ever since then, I'm like, yo, if we ever get a chance, this is the manager we got to bring in. We're signing the right players: Welbeck, Henderson, Pep Chavaria, Palestra, Rogers, Quenda, Lacroix. Quenda we already knew was coming in. But, yeah, we're signing the right players. We're doing the right things. We're only playing the 1 game a week. So, last 5 seasons, we got 74 points, then 44 points, then 63, 69, and then 52. With Xavi Alonso, with the players we're bringing in, signings, whatever, absolute bare minimum, 70 points. Absolute bare minimum. I don't want to think of a place we're going to be in. We'll kind of discuss that a little bit, but I want at least 75 points. Xavi Alonso should be able to get that with these players. I mean, we have world-class players now. Enzo Caicedo, Joao Pedro, Cole Palmer if he can come back. Rogers can be world-class. Reece James if he stays fit. I think Lavia can be a great player. Palestra's looking amazing. Hado's young. Joshua Chimpong's young. Cowell can be world-class in somewhat. Lacroix can be great. Mike Pendes could be world-class. He'll be a backup this season, so he could be a while before he becomes anything. But anyway, I won 75 points. Even if we don't get this, though, do not sack him because I guarantee if we don't get this, it is not his fault. It's probably because of injuries, whatever. Now, if he gets like 60 points and we're struggling and it's like, all right, dude, like, then I will honestly be saying sack him. Then, in terms of spots, 75 points, at least in the past like 5-10 years, guarantees at least like second, third, fourth place. So to be champions, like it could be runners up, most likely be third place because I think City and Arsenal are going to have both 80 plus points. I think it's pretty obvious for Arsenal to do that. Man City, I'm just not sure with Maresca, but they have Hall and they still have such an amazing team, so I think they'll be okay. Then next season, could we be then aiming for the 80 plus? It depends. But that's how I feel about the Prem. Look, the only two teams that should be better than us are Arsenal and Man City. Spurs, no. Man United, no. Who else? I'm missing a big six club. Who am I missing? Liverpool. They shouldn't be as good as us. New manager as well. Areola, I don't think he'll do that great there. They lost, Solly. Didn't play much last year anyway, but who knows? Maybe Isaac and all those players will finally come good like they should have last season. We'll have to see. But speaking of the Cups now, no Champions League. We have to make runs in these. I would obviously love to win one. It's been a while. We've been to a lot of finals recently. Let's get one under the belt. Look, weirdly enough, we've won the Champions League at least somewhat recently. The Champions League, I'm okay if we don't win that for a little bit. But things like the Prem and domestically, like we have been terrible domestically. So, Club World Cup at least, Conference League, Champions League, 5-6 years ago now? 6 years, yes. Domestically, we've been tragic. Let's get a trophy in there. It doesn't absolutely need to happen, and we'll discuss here in a second, like, if we do this in the Prem, Cups, this in the Prem, whatever, you'll see what I mean. Semifinals in at least one competition, if not both. We should be fully rested while all these other teams are getting tired, especially in the FA Cup since it's later on in the season. All these other teams like Man City's, Liverpool's, whatever, Arsenal's, you assume they're going deep in the Champions League. Even like Villa's, whoever else is in the Conference League, they'll be going later into those competitions, you would assume. So now, like, let's say we get 80 points in the Prem, I'd be okay if we don't win a cup because, we got 80 plus points in the Prem. But if we win, like, especially the FA Cup, but the Carabao Cup or one of them, if we win one of them and we got, like, 75 points or even, like, 65, it's not the end of the world if we were to win a competition. Like, if we win a competition, the Prem is not nearly as big of a deal. Does the FA Cup get you Champions League, or is it FA Cup's Europa League, I think? I don't know. I'm too lazy to look. Whatever. But if we win a cup, Prem doesn't matter as much. But if we have, like, terrible cups, then I'm expecting a lot in the Prem. Now, some of these players I want to speak about, how we're talking about successful seasons, whatever. First, we have to talk about Cole Palmer. Look, simple enough, stay injury-free. I think it's pretty self-explanatory with him. For all these players, I don't necessarily need a goal and an assist tally because it's not like, oh, we need Palmer to score 20-plus goals because we're not going to get goals other places. Look, that doesn't matter. I just want to see Palmer happy, which he has been, so that's good. But Palmer, we just need to see him back to what he used to be like. That's the main thing. Joao Pedro, I expect another big season from him. If you produce what you did last season, I don't even care if he builds on last season. Just give me what you did last season, and I'd be A-okay if you did that for literally the rest of your career here. Esteval, I feel like recently, I always praise him a lot, but I feel like recently, look, he's got a lot to learn. Of course, he's like a young prodigy, and he knows that. And so it can tamper with his performances, I feel like, a little bit and make him not, he plays a little bit of hero ball. I mentioned it in one of my YouTube shorts a couple days ago. How, yeah, he just plays, I think he plays hero ball a lot. He thinks he's like the main man, which when you have that much pressure on you as a young kid and everybody talks about you, you're kind of just going to do that anyway. But Quenda, he's not in this list, but Quenda, look, mate, Esteval, if you're not careful, Quenda could come in and really shake things up, that's for sure. Now, Rodgers, I'm not going to put too much pressure on him. I don't want him to come in and, feel like he's got to, set the world on fire. But a successful season for him would be like 10-10. Come in, prove you're worth the $117 million. That's the main thing for him, honestly. Caicedo, just do what you always do, man. That's all that matters with Caicedo. Just do what you're best at doing. That's all I care about. Cowell, along with Palmer and Reece James, they just got to stay fit. Cowell, build on what you did 2 years ago, man. Become that leader we know you can be. Reece James, again, also stay fit. A lot of this depends on Xavi Alonso. Reece James, is he going to play a lot in that midfield, especially if we lose Enzo? Is he going to play, sort of like right center back? Is he going to play that wing back and maybe cut into the midfield? We'll have to see. There's a lot that could happen, but those are, I think, our main 7 players who really need to show their worth, show that they're the best players in the squad. And yeah, I think the player that's got a lot of pressure on him is Esteval, just because he's that young prodigy. I really want him to succeed. Every time he plays, it just makes me excited. He's got the dribbling ability, all that. But, excuse me, if you have made it this far in the video, hope you guys enjoyed. Let's see what happens with Arsenal and Pedro Neto. That is absolutely hilarious. We'll have to see what happens in the future with that. But hope you guys enjoyed this one, and I will see you all in the next one. Peace.